here I would be looking at the power delay product as my metric, where I would be working for a given delay. Delay is given to me, so I am not going to change the delay, but then let me choose the sizing such that the total PDP comes down. Okay, so we need to now develop a model or adopt our existing logical effort model to get an expression for or a model for a power equation, power consumption. Okay, just as we have in the logical effort, everything is computed with respect to a standard CMOS inverter delay. Similarly, here we would also be doing a normalization with respect to the standard CMOS inverter power consumption. So here again, it would be kind of a total, you can say the normalized value you would be getting. Just as we were getting normalized value of delays over there, we will be getting or developing a model where we will get a normalized value of power consumption. And as I said, it would be an adaptation of existing logical effort expression or model. Okay, so we start with the normal CMOS gate, and in a CMOS gate we all know that major source of power consumption is a dynamic power consumption. So we will focus on this component. Okay, so we look at the switching power. So P switching, which is a dynamic power consumption here. So P switching, we know for any CMOS gate is the probability of switching of the gate multiplied by the frequency at which the gate is operating, the C of the output and the VDD squares. Okay, here I am not taking the case where you are not allowing the swing to have a full VDD variation. So we are assuming that a normal gate with a normal VDD swing. So it is going to be alpha G F clock into C out VDD square. This is my equation for power consumption of any CMOS gate. And then I say that this C out actually at the output is actually a combination of my load, external load, plus the parasitic. So I split this C out into two. So C load of the gate plus C parasitic of the gate, which I say, so equation then modifies to C load plus CP. G stands for the gate. G stands for the gate. Okay. So once I have got this switching or dynamic power consumption, now I use my normal equation as my electrical effort, where I say that C load by C input of the gate is my electrical effort. So I replace, wherever you have a C load, I replace it with C H times C input. I replace it with H times C input, and the unit size or standard inverter that I am choosing is, again, let us choose it to be designed in the ratio of mobility. Say mobility is 2, so 2 is to 1. I am designing my standard CMOS inverter in the ratio of the 2 is to 1, or mobility, whatever mobility ratio you have. Okay. Now whatever we have with us, so the switching power consumption of my CMOS inverter, standard CMOS inverter. What is that? Because I said I would be comparing it or normalizing it with respect to the standard CMOS inverter. So what is the power consumption of my standard CMOS inverter? Let me write the expression for that. Let me say that expression is given by this PV, that is alpha of my standard CMOS inverter. Okay, F clock, C of C at the output of your standard CMOS inverter, and okay, V defines my unit CMOS or whatever you have. Equation subscript, it refers to standard CMOS. Okay, inverter. So now we have this is expression. So since I want to normalize, so whatever is my switching power of my gate, any gate, normalizing it with respect to the unit CMOS, unit or standard inverter. That is what I am dividing. So I am getting a normalized value. I am getting a normalized value, which now comes out to be alpha G upon alpha V, G for the gate, V for my standard, CING of the gate and CING of the unit inverter, into H is the electrical effort, and CP parasitic of the gate and CV parasitic of the unit inverter. Clear? So normalization we are doing, so comparing and getting the normalized value. When you get that, now I can write this expression. CING by CV. This is something which we call as a G. Remember the expression for logical effort, ratio of input capacitances. That's what. So I can describe it as a G, and this can be described as a P. Okay, so my equation now, so this can be given as a alpha normalized. I can write this as a alpha normalized. So if you put this as G and P and alpha normalized, so P normalized comes out to be alpha normalized. What is this Z? Z they are saying that let me understand that CING to some template gate. Template gate can be standard CMOS inverter, or you can choose some other template gate. It can be standard CMOS inverter or the gate itself. In that case, Z would be appropriate value or Z would be 1. So let me say that widths are in the ratio of this Z component. Okay, widths are in the ratio of this Z. So CING of a gate is Z times C some template, and CPG of the gate is Z times some C template, and then we say I replace everywhere by C template, and we get that expression as, so we get a Z outside. Just substitute these values, and then wherever you are getting a C by C ratio, replace it by G. Wherever you are getting a CP by CV ratio, replace it by P, and then Z comes. Z can be 1, Z can be any other value. It depends on you what template gate you are assuming, with which you are comparing or with which you are finding out your W values in comparison. It can be 1 also. But aim is to get a generalized expression where you are getting a switching power normalized to the unit inverter in terms of quantities which are similarly described in a logical effort model for the gate delay. Logical effort model for the delay of a gate. So I am getting an expression for power consumption of the CMOS gate based on again a logical effort model where I am describing my G as a ratio of C input to some C standard or C template, and then CP again is a parasitic effort, P is a parasitic effort, which is again a ratio of the two C's. So parasitic is also expressed in terms of C ratio, remember here, which is not so in the case of delay. Which is not so in the case of delay. Yes, no, but it is in the case of delay also. Remember, how do we describe P? How do we describe P? How do we describe P of an inverter? 2 CGD plus C drain to bulk for PMOS, and CGD for plus C drain to bulk of NMOS. 4 components. They will describe your P. And you take any other gate, that will also be P in terms of capacitances. So when you take the total P, normalize it, you get a ratio of C again. So this is nothing but it is coming from that only. Because it is a ratio, ultimately it becomes a number. Ultimately it becomes a number. Clear? Got it? How do you find? Z is a kind of where you want to show that you want to write the width proportional to the widths. Suppose there is a template gate whose width is known to you. You are taking some gate whose width is known to you, and then you are saying, okay, the input gate has a width Z times that of it. Z times that of it. In the case of a standard gate, you might not be knowing the width. Actual width might not, you still would be working with the capacitances only. When you take a ratio of the gate versus the inverter, unit inverter, nowhere we are mentioning the gate. We are saying how much power this gate is consuming with respect to the unit inverter. Nowhere I am talking about the W's. Nowhere. But ultimately you have to get the sizing. You have to get the sizing. So now suppose I design a gate whose width is known to me. And then I represent my input of a gate with respect to that gate. I say, okay, the widths are in the ratio of Z times. Width of a gate, width of my switching gate is say Z times the width of my template gate. Why am I doing this? Because ultimately I would be finding out the optimum width for which PDP is minimum. I would be interested in that. So this will help me in getting that value. So suppose you take your standard gate is a gate itself, then Z will become 1. In that case, Z will become 1. So there is something that you should know, starting point. There must be a starting point. Otherwise, you cannot find out. Everything will come in terms of variables. Everything will come in terms of variables. But I want values ultimately. I want some values. So Z, as I said, Z is a kind of a variable. It's a ratio. It is a ratio with respect to a gate or template gate whose width is known to you. Now this you can choose. This you can choose. In a given technology, you can design a gate, maybe as an inverter gate or an AND gate, but whatever gate you are choosing, choose it as a template and then represent your gate with respect to gate width with respect to that template gate. It can be a standard unit inverter also. It can be a standard unit inverter also. Okay? So, where is that? Where? Z may be more than a width. Z may be more than a width because your C is not consisting of only W's. C is not consisting of only W's. It may be possible that there are other factors also included which are varying. As a result, the two C's are in the ratio of Z, where Z can be because of two different variables or three different variables. It may be possible. So Z is they are putting it as in a general case, not necessarily. Now, how do you define your template gate? That depends on you. Suppose it is everything else is constant and only W is there. Then it would be a ratio of W. Suppose it is not so, then Z may not be. In a general case, the Z may not be. Template gate is what you design, what you decide on your own. And accordingly you interpret the data. Template gate is something kind of a standard, but template is something that you refer everything to. But here you are defining two different things, standard as well as template. So standard is something with respect to which we are normalizing. With respect to which we are normalizing. Template is something we are referring our width with respect to that template gate. Or the two C's we are referring with respect to. Our C in gate is referred with respect to that. We are saying it is 4 times, that can be 4. 4 times the template gate. So here my template gate can differ from the unit gate, unit inverter. It can be same as a unit inverter, it can be different from the unit inverter. Depends how do you design. So it gives you a kind of a flexibility. It gives you a kind of a flexibility in deciding your own template gate. So you can choose it to be unit inverter, you can choose it to be the gate itself, or you can choose it to be some gate with respect to which you are all referring the input of any other gate with respect to that. And this template gate is something which is known to you. The template gate is something whose information is known to you. Okay. So I have got an expression for my normalized switching power, which can be used to compute the power consumption of any other gate whose values for alpha, G, H and P is known to you. So this equation is very, very similar to the delay model that we have for a logical effort based, for a delay case. So I have now got an expression, or I have adopted my logical effort model from delay to power. From delay to power with modified definitions of the G and P. With modified definitions of G and P. How do you estimate G and P? They are now will be different. Okay, accordingly you go ahead. But equation comes out to be, but the final equation comes out to have the same form. Okay. Now once you have done that, I have got the expression for P. That's what we did in our delay also, we get the expression for D. Okay, now we say that how to find the best sizing. How to find the best sizing. So there what do you say? Minimum delay condition. Minimum delay condition. So every stage must have a same stage effect. What's the minimum delay condition? So what is the minimum power condition here? Can you now do a little bit of exercise? Because what did we do there to get the minimum delay condition? We write the expression for two gates. We design a circuitry with 2 gates with a certain C load. Say this one has a logical effort of G1, this has P1 parasitic effort, and this has G2 and P2 with respect to the power equation. With respect to the power equation, and it is driving a C load. And then we say that write the expression for P. The total D as is the delay of this plus delay of this. In the case of my power, this would be the total power consumed by this and the total power consumed by this. Addition total power equation, which can be written in terms of GH plus P. Alpha times GH plus P. Okay, and then you minimize it with respect to the capacitive load. Optimum capacitive load that you should have over here. That's what we do in the case of delay also. We optimize it, the total delay, we minimize it with respect to the total G you should have at this node. We minimize. Remember or not? Everybody remembers that. I hope Goa students, they also remember that. You minimize with respect to what? You minimize with respect to what? With respect to the optimum loading condition you should have. This loading condition, what? Because this loading condition is indicative of the sizing of the next gate. Okay? Yes or no? Yes, na? So
Yes, ma'am.
we need to minimize with respect to the loading condition at this node. And that's what we do, because equation is the same, GH plus P. There also you are having GH plus P. So if you minimize with respect to CG here, that's what you are doing. In that case, you will get the same equation. That G1H1 must be same as C2H2. The same process you will follow. That means the condition for minimum delay, same condition is also valid for the minimum power for a modified P equation. Because now P is PNM, P normalized. It is a switching power that you are looking at. You are not looking at the D. But then equation comes out to be of the same form. That every stage should have the stage effort. Then you will get a minimum power. You will get a minimum power. And then I say, okay, it is G1H1 equal to G2H2. So if it is G1H1 equal to G2H2, I can write it in terms of C in G1, C input gate 1, C input gate 2, and Cn. So what is your H1? H1 is C input gate 2 divided by C input gate 1. Okay, similarly, what is your electrical effort, or for this gate 2 it is CL divided by C input gate 2. You can substitute these things over here, you will get this equation. Simple, it is nothing but just substitution. Or you can also understand it in terms of G1H1 plus G2H2. Okay, it is actually this condition which is true for minimum power also, as per our equation for P normalized that we have derived just now. Remember, in that equation, I am not looking for, I have not included the power consumption at the intermediate nodes. Because that equation is only for the output node. Okay? That P normalized is only for the output node. When the output node is switching, there is a power consumption. I am not taking into account the internodal switching power. So if you add to that, your actual power will be more. So this is a drawback of this model. It is not taking into account the internodal switching power. Okay? It is only taking into account the output node switching power. That you should take into account. So we might be needing to update this model further to take into account the internodal switching power. Okay? But first of all, let us do this case. Let us finish up with this case. Okay? So I have got now an equation for power consumption switching power of any other gate normalized with respect to the unit inverter. I have got a condition for minimum power. Okay, now I should now do something to get the value for the G optimum. What should be the G optimum I should have so that I get a minimum PDP? As I said, I will not be designing only for minimum power, because minimum power will require me to have minimum parasitic, minimum VDD. Okay, so I now have to look at the PDP, because I cannot sacrifice my delay. Delay also has to be minimum, but not minimum. Suppose I am increasing a delay to some extent, but I cannot make it very large. I cannot make it very large. So I have to find out some compromise So I will not be looking at only power. I will not be looking at only delay. I would be looking at a PDP. My metric would be PDP. So if it is a PDP that I have, and then I need to find the optimum C gate that you should have, that will indicate what W this gate should have. That will indicate just as you have a back transformation. Okay, same thing we will do over here, but it would be done in a little bit different manner. Okay, so here we have, I want to find now the gate sizing for my minimum. Okay, so delay for this, again I am taking the same structure. So delay equation is given by this, and normalized power is given by this. And then what I say, multiply the two together to get the expression for PDP. Multiply them together. And then we multiply them together, we get this whole expression with H1 value as this one, H2 this one, Z1 this one, and Z2 this one. Okay. And then you can substitute these values and try to simplify. So PDP value, when you multiply, it gives you a long expression. It gives you a long expression which expressed in terms of x1, x2, x3, where x1, x2, x3 and x4 are given by these equations. After multiplication, you need to multiply because it is a PDP you are looking at. So we multiply the two together and we get a large expression which is expressed in terms of variables x1, x2, x3. It takes this one. Because we are interested in finding the optimum loading at the input of the gate 2. So CG2 is where I would like to minimize it. I want to minimize my PDP with respect to CG2. PDP minimum now. I am saying power minimization is not my criteria. My criteria is PDP. So earlier I was getting it as G1 H1 for minimum power. I am now modifying it for PDP. Now I am modifying that criteria for. So what is that condition for which, or what is that optimum expression for CG2 for which PDP is minimum? Okay. So now whatever expression you are getting for PDP, we minimize it with respect to CG2. We minimize it with respect to CG2. And then when you do take the derivative, it comes out to be this expression. So take the derivative, put it equal to 0. That's what we do for minimization. So we get an expression for CG2 optimum value as this, which can be used for deciding the input loading condition at the input of the gate 2. Input loading conditions of the gate 2. Here you are not getting a back transformation. We are not getting a back transformation. Back transformation I would have used had I gone for minimum power. It says equal stage effort. Every stage must have equal stage effort. Rather, I left it over there. I moved on to PDP. I said, let me take a PDP as my metric, and then let me find out the optimum loading. So I am minimizing the PDP expression with respect to the input gate capacitance of gate 2. That gives me an expression for CG2 optimum where you can put in all the values. X1, X2, X3, they are all known to you in terms of G1, P2, P1. All these values are known to you. So you can put in all these values. CT1 is known to you, template gate, as I said, is known to you. The gate characteristics are known to you. CT1 is known to you. Z is also known to you. Everything is known to you. Put in this value and get the expression for CG2. How much CG2 you should have for a minimum PDP. And once CG2 is now known to you, you can estimate the width. You can design the gate. You can design the gate accordingly. So that gate will give you a minimum PDP. That path now with two gates, gate 1 and gate 2 will have a minimum power delay product. That is guaranteed. So now if I go for the logical effort model, I will get a minimum delay. And if I go for only minimum power, Okay, I will get a minimum power. So I can now plot. Maybe I can take a path and I can plot. I can take a path. Suppose I take this path. Okay, so you are now plotting. Suppose from here to here, or any gate you can take, any path you can take, and you are plotting the different graphs for this. You are sizing it accordingly. Maybe for minimum delay, sizing. Then also size this path for minimum power. Then size this path for minimum. Do it, and then we plot different results. So we get delay versus W, normalized width. This is what is expected. Delay graph, this is what you expect. That with width, delay will go on reducing, and then further change in delay will be minimum. It will become nearly constant. This is what we expect. So if you go by logical effort model, this is what you would be, the kind of graph you would be getting. So this is segment I am saying it is a fast change. I am calling this segment as alpha. And then there is a beta and then very minimal change. Can you see? As you are moving away from here, the change, the delay goes on increasing. You get a kind of a valley because when you increase W tremendously, the drive capability does not change much because it is overpowered by the increase in parasitic loading. So parasitic loading now, so as a result, you first get a sharp fall, then a kind of a stable region, and then slow increase because your parasitic effort dominates over the reduction in or increase in the drive capability. Okay, so we define three segments here: alpha, beta, and gamma. Alpha where you get a sharp change, beta you get a kind of a stabilized region, and then gamma where the again delay starts increasing. Again the delay starts increasing. Similarly, if you plot the power of this path with respect to W. So as you go on increasing W, the power goes on increasing. Why? C load goes on increasing. Look at the expression alpha C VDD square. So VDD square you are not tempering with, it is only C. So as you increase W, C goes on increasing. So with increase in W, power goes on increasing. The power goes on increase. So this kind of a graph which is again expected. So from 0 to 5 width, it is alpha range. So this corresponds to the alpha range. Then from 5 to 10, we have defined the range as beta. So beta corresponds on this plot here. And the 10 onwards, the range is segmented as gamma. So gamma corresponds. Okay, clear? So now I take the PDP now and I plot delay versus PDP. Now I plot delay versus PDP. So these two are understood by us. Now let us look at this graph, which is a new to me. It is a delay versus power. So you delay versus power and we get a graph like that. What does these points indicate? DPD minimum, PDP minimum, D logical effort minimum. What does these points indicate? This is logical effort base. So you will get a minimum delay. So minimum delay is somewhere you are saying that here you will get a minimum delay, then the delay will start increasing. It is coming down. This is a minimum delay you are getting based on logical effort model, and then delay is increasing here, delay is also increasing. This point. So this is the logical effort minimum. This is what minimum delay you will get through logical effort based model. Okay. So this is logical effort. So the intersection between beta and gamma segment is DLE minimum. So DLE minimum is this point here, and DLE minimum is this point, where you are getting a minimum delay. So minimum delay wherever it is reaching, this value is reaching, that point corresponds to DLE minimum. Corresponding to that point, what power you are getting? It is this much power. You can get on this axis that corresponding to DLE minimum point, the power consumed by the circuit is given by the value here. I am plotting to get the information about my characterizing parameters. And then similarly, as you increase, so here also, now this may be for a particular W. So as power is increasing, somewhere here PDP is minimum. This point, so if you find out, you design this path for minimum PDP. For minimum PDP, look here what is happening. At this point, power is reducing. Power is reducing, but what is happening? Delay is increasing. Here PDP is minimum. So if you go below this point, power will reduce, but delay will increase. As a result, your PDP may not be minimum. PDP may be increasing because delay is increasing, which may be over dominating the decrease in. So can you see here that PDP minimum comes somewhere here, and after that you get an increase in delay, and at the same time power is also reducing. But overall PDP, if you look at, that may not be reducing, that might be increasing. Clear? You have to think in various aspects. That's what is shown in the slide. Delay versus W, power versus W, delay versus power, and then come to this PDP versus delay. So whatever we understood from these three graphs, we can now, on the base of that, we can justify this graph. We can understand that graph. As I said, there are 2 points: D logical effort minimum, PDP minimum. So wherever you have minimum delay, there you might not be having a PDP minimum. So delay is increasing, PDP is increasing. Delay is minimum here. This is the point where you have a minimum delay, but PDP might be increasing. And somewhere here, PDP is minimum, but delay might be rising. As a result, PDP is also rising. Between these 2 points, PDP both ways is rising. Between this point and this point, below this point and beyond this point. Okay, I have PDP rising. Why? Because either delay is increasing drastically or power is increasing drastically. And in between the 2 points, which is a beta segment, which is in between DLE min and DPD min, we have a range where PDP has a lower value, a kind of a lower value. So that means for PDP minimum, I would be designing in the beta segment. I will not be designing in the alpha segment. I will not be designing in the gamma segment. Mike.
In the minimum PDP expression, we have the variables x1, x2, x3, x4.
X1, x2, they are in the terms of C1, P1, P1. No?
So, ma'am, that means while designing the gate a priori, I should know whether I'm following the symmetric logical effort model or the skewed
yes. Because that you should decide a priori.
Because that is going to decide my G.
Yes. Okay. That you should decide a priori. The information should be known to you. Otherwise, values, how would you find out? How would you apply? Whether you are going for asymmetric or you are going for skewed gates, that you should be knowing all these things. Accordingly, G will be affected. So here I am not applying this method to skewed gates or asymmetric gates. I am just applying this method to a symmetric CMOS gate. Maybe it's a good thing. You should start applying this concept to skewed gates or asymmetric gates. How to apply or adopt a logical effort model to skewed gates. That may be a good way of exploring it further. Okay, but what is the aim here? My aim was to give you the latest research that people are doing in the field of adopting this model, which is a very easy model, very simple model, to extend it to the power domain. Because nowadays we are not only referring to minimum delay, power minimization is also our criteria, is our point of focus. Okay, so we can, as we can say, so here it has many flaws. As I said, internodal capacitance switchings are not taken into account. We should take them also into account. Okay, similarly here, that choice of template gate, it is not yet standard. No, this paper doesn't say anything about the template gate. Should it be the standard unit inverter? Should it be my own gate? What should it be? What is the best choice for template? What should you choose as your template? Is it something that I need to design it and then defer all my designs to? What is the point? What is the harm in choosing it to be as my standard unit inverter? What is the harm that I have? So these things are not told, or these things are not clear in this model. But this model at least opens a door which says that you can apply or adopt this model to a power domain for power consumption or minimum PDP. You can apply it. Okay. Now, just as you have a case of D absolute. No, we say D absolute is tau times the D. If you want to, because everything is in terms of delay units, we convert it to seconds, we multiply it by tau. Here also, this has nothing to do with VDD. There is no VDD. So I should multiply it by VDD because VDD also has a role to play here. Here we are talking everything in terms of alpha and C load and the series and combinations. We have not taken the VDD into account. This equation does not take VDD into account. So maybe what you should do, we can adapt it further. It should be multiplied by whatever P normalized you are getting, multiplied by the VDD. It should be multiplied because VDD effect should also come into picture because VDD has a square effect on it. VDD has a square. So this model does not say anything about the incorporation of VDD. Maybe we need to adapt it further to include the VDD effect because you may be operating with VDD low, you may be operating with VDD high, or somewhere VDD low, somewhere VDD high. Accordingly, this model needs to be adapted. Okay, so just a first step that I have shown you. It's not that people, they haven't done research, they have done research, but I have not incorporated them in my slides. Okay, so I encourage you all, maybe if you are interested, to go through that literature, find out papers and see how numerous techniques they have proposed, researchers they have proposed to adapt it to for PDP or power minimization. Okay, so we stop here. Next time I would be taking you or taking the concept of logical effort further to other logic families like pseudo NMOS and domino CMOS. Okay, because logical effort is something that is not only limited to the static sequence. It can be, or it should be accepted, it should be extended to other logical families also, and we should know how to adapt it further. We should know how to apply it to others. Okay, so next time we'll be looking at pseudo NMOS, and then we will be looking at the use of domino CMOS. Domino CMOS is very easy. Why? Because it is nothing but a skewed gate. And skewed gate we have already understood. So applying it to domino is not very difficult. Okay. Okay, you all should now submit your reports to me for the first assignment and then make a PPT, and then you need to come to me for your presentations. So presentation date, maybe you can decide among yourself. Give me some 2-3 dates out of which I will choose one according to my convenience. You decide among yourself, and I request my Goa students to do this similar exercise with your instructor, Mr. Gavax, because now your marks are needed to be included in your mid-semester grading. Okay? I would be putting up your solutions very soon for your mid-sem test. So I will be emailing it to all of you. Okay? This paper on power consumption, I would be emailing it to you. This is not given in the book. I have taken this from one of the papers. So that published paper I would be sending to you. Okay?